Okay, everyone, welcome back to SABADO Sessions Podcast. We're your hosts, and today we got our good friend Daniel J on the podcast. We brought him along because he's the owner of the gym, and pretty much very much in the trenches when it comes to like organizing competitions, both from like a local to national level. So yeah, just to kick it off, first question, bro. What would you say is the biggest challenge when it comes to organizing a comp in general, whether it be a local or a national level?
Oh shit. Well, I definitely don't like. I would by no means say I'm like an expert. I just have like a bit of an opinion of it. We've run quite a few here, so like national level wise, I've only kind of taken part. Um, but like in from like I guess it's kind of even though like if I don't have experience with it, like a national level organizing it, I guess it's kind of bringing it back to an independent gym because that's at the end of the day where this is going to be hosted, which I know there's been a bit of flack for.
Yeah, it's
Um,
going to be hosted this year at Nottingham Strong. I
yeah,
mean, I've never been. I don't know if you have.
Yeah, no, that's what I've never been either. But like, I guess one thing that I want to highlight and say, like, it looks like an incredible gym. There's nothing against the gym. Where I think where a lot of people, maybe like myself included, are a bit like, why is it being hosted there specifically? There's nothing against the gym at all. Like, it looks like an incredible gym. Like, um, us down south or my gym specifically, we kind of aspire to be something like that. It looks like an incredible setup. Having said that, I feel we can all agree um, a national level comp at a independent gym just kind of seems a bit like it's been done before, and like should be we should be kind of raising the bar in terms of what these competitions look like. I think everyone's kind of looking at the comps over in the US, and we're like aspiring to be more like that, and
Hmm.
it's not really happening in small independent gyms.
Bro, before these two get stuck in with the other questions, just to follow up from that, what would you say is like a challenge a division could face, or like a region could face, even to even get to a point where not being stuck of hosting like a national level competition and independent gym as opposed to an actual venue?
There's like I think this is where it's really difficult because people don't kind of see the back end and how difficult it is to run a comp just even in house, let alone going somewhere else. I think the main barrier for most people within like organizing the comps in like bigger venues is just going to be the cost flat out. The
Hmm.
venue hire is just going to be massive. Like before we started the pod, you were like, oh, we need to get it in London kind of thing. It's not really feasible just because of the cost. And then even when you think about lifters traveling into London, it's going to be mad getting into London first off, and then the price of hotels, everything. We were saying like in our chat before, like really for the top level guys and girls competing because they have to do it as like a gateway to internationals.
Hmm.
And there's certain names that are definitely going to win these comps. Reigning champions, they should really be free entry into these competitions because it's like, oh, not only have they got to pay 50 quid entry, but then they've got to pay, hotel, travel, all of those things multiple times a year. The least that could be done, at a national level when we're on our own home soil was maybe getting them free entry into these comps. But no, I guess the main issues with hosting like bigger competitions is going to be the venue hire, and then even the little things that you don't really think about, like transportation costs for kit. Like, you think you've got like a couple of 100 kilo worth of plates that you're taking to a venue, not to mention racks and everything. It's money that's going to be cost to, like, not even the manpower to get it from one location to another, but then like, hiring out, say, like a van or a Luton to get them. It's just all money that's getting like burned through. So it does make sense to run it at like, like when we run comps here, it's like fairly easy because we've got everything under one roof. Um, but like, transporting it all to like a bigger venue, it's difficult. But then, so it makes sense to have everything under one roof. But then also there's the complications you run into, like I mentioned earlier,
Hmm.
when we're in the chat, like even little things like, how many toilets does like the venue hold? Like, we've got how many lifters in a day? If you've only got like four toilets, it's a bit shit having to like queue in between attempts for like 20 minutes, half an hour. It's just
Hmm.
little
Yeah.
logistics, things like that doesn't really make sense
Well,
always.
there's that, and also one or two of those toilets have to be closed towards like the latter end of a comp day because people have to be selected randomly to well, usually anyway, randomly selected to do a
To
drug
the
test.
drug test.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Yeah.
No,
But
So
yeah,
would you
it's tough.
would you say then, like, one of the questions would be like, would you agree to increase the price then of the cost of entry, like to something like and what's the max? Okay, just a question to all three of you, right? How much more, like, what's the max you would spend on the membership, like entry? Sorry,
entry.
like 100, 150
It,
pounds for like
but the thing is,
like a
it
national comp.
depends. 100%, it depends on the comp and then who the lifter is. I think it's really shit to kind of create this like barrier to entry for people, you know, who essentially can't afford just to compete in a national just because of the location of it. Like you see that a lot with what was it with the Commonwealth in New Zealand? All right,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. When you think that the people that went out there, you know, again, no offense, I'm not shouting out people, but isn't always necessarily the best lifter. It's just who can afford to go to New Zealand.
Yeah.
It'll become this weird thing where if we're charging like 100, 200, 250 pounds just to enter into a comp, like who's got that money to burn kind of thing? Not
Yeah.
to mention like travel, you know, staying over hotels and that,
But
and then it's like food, eating, all of these things. So it ends up being like a 500 pound thing just to get to a comp that, you know, maybe is just a gateway to international.
yeah.
I think
But just with, sorry, Jones, before you begin, just to like, I don't know, a devil's advocate of like prices being higher. I'm pretty sure if it was incentivized in a way, it would justify a much higher price point. Like for example, the way things have been now, it's set at a certain price. But if it was more, there should be more offered, if that makes sense.
100%. Yeah, you can't just bump up the price and be like, oh, we're offering what we did before, but you know the price tag has gone up just because or whatever. But I think like White Lights with the comp that they did, I think the price tag on it was, you know, high, but they tried their best,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then succeeded in a lot of ways to, you know, heighten the level of a comp. They had their own venue set up, they had all, you know, comp equipment, all the brand new Eleiko stuff. Um, but having said that, does the price ticket reflect that? And then did you see the high level lifters there?
Yeah, yeah.
It was, you know, it was people who were going there who wanted like a national level, international level experience, and they were willing to pay a premium for it. But if you want high level lifters, they need either they're looking for prize money or they're looking for a gateway to international, aren't they?
Mm-hmm.
But again, my take on this prices on fees and membership and high level comp or not, I think I've said this for years and I'll keep on saying this. Dan, in the beginning, you mentioned this, like we have got two different kind of lifters in the country. The ones are fighting for international spot because they have to do the nationals, which is like the top levels, as you said. And then the ones that want to share the platform with these so-called world class or have that international experience. So I think to me is as a nations, as a Fed, we are not giving our lifters that experience that they deserve. So in terms of like the national competition should be a standard bearer for some people, right? Where, okay, I never had the opportunity or I was not lucky enough to make the international team, but I did so-and-so nationals. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This could be their highlight of their career, but our nationals and our Fed is not offering that. Yes, Nottingham Strong, people are saying is a great gym, it's a great place to lift. I agree with that. But is it a place for you to run in nationals and to give people that experience that they deserve? No, because again, I know we'll talk about the prices of the entries. I still believe all these Wala media staff, even the super training staff, all these guys are throwing these competitions is because they're putting their money on the line to give people the best experience. And that's what you see people are agreeing to pay premium prices for these events. So with us, I believe there is the money. If the national doesn't, if the Fed doesn't have the money, that's when the Fed goes, okay, we need and so on. So be transparent to across the country, saying, okay, guys, we ain't got the money, but if we will run with the events you guys are talking about, this is how much it's going to cost us. And then the divisions will bid for it. Every single division will see if we have the money that it takes to do that, to can afford 50 grand or 20 grand or 10 grand or whatever. Then the other thing as well is, I know this, I'm going to be crucified for this, but we have sponsors, right? Our federation has sponsors. Their sponsors, they know they're just there for laughing and taking a picture of them. No, the sponsors are there, they're paying the dues. So to me, I believe is the federation needs to stand up and say, okay, guys, we need to provide for these lifters because these are our lifters. We need to look after them because, to be fair, as an international, when I go international, I'm proud to be British. I'm proud to wear that flag on the platform. You know, I'm proud of our team, what we do internationally. But when we come to the national, what does the federation does for us as lifters in the national? Nothing. They chuck us in gyms. That's all we get. I'm not ranting here, but it's the reality. It's true. I know we're talking about potentially hacking up the price of the entries. You mentioned that would not solve the issue. Because if you hack up the prices, some people can't afford that thing. You know, it is basic, it's the foundation. They have to go to the foundation, have the right people at the right place to get these things done. I believe that's the only way we can move forward. Otherwise, next year, remember last year we were crying about where the chapters last year. We had pretty much, to me personally, that was almost one of the best British in terms of quality of lifting we ever had. Right? And we saw it, the whole world spoke about it. But when we talk about the venue, bless the person that organized it, she did her best. But the reality is, did she get the support?
Which comp was that? Where was that, sorry?
That was in, is it Colchester?
I can't remember. Was it the same venue that we did All England in, Espen? Is it that one?
No, that's not one. No.
That was in Colchester. So again, right, the guys in
it was bad.
The guys up to Manchester, what they're doing, that should be the standard for international competition for us. Do you know what I mean? National, sorry. If the guys can do it, if this guy can do it for All England, they can do it for the division. Come on, why not the nationals? You know?
Well, I think with the All England thing though, that's Kim and Jacob, I guess, spearheading all of it, and they've just got it. They've got it down. They really have. I think everything that they're doing with England and everything is spot on in terms of, you know, opening up opportunities to sponsors, having different like tier levels. The way that All England's was run last year was, you know, spot on. But I think kind of going on from what Durans was saying, having like an international standard at a national is kind of a must, like, because otherwise you'll get lifters who are like going to a national first time and then, you know, having the experience and then, you know, maybe potentially getting on the team, going international, and it's a completely different experience. The warm-up area is completely different. You know, all of these things are completely different. Even the reffing is completely different. So it's going to be a shock to the system. But then, you know, even being able to rub shoulders with a kind of like a slight bit of a digression, but it's like with the totals, like the standards that you have to hit now. It's like if you always had that, would you ever have, you know, these top level lifters if they never had an opportunity to go to an international? Like, would you have Tony Cliff if he didn't have the opportunity to go to international year after year? Or, you know, would there be some lifters who don't hit the total a few years running, the international standard total, and then they're just like, oh, I'm going to pack it in, I'm never going to be good enough? I think it's important to be able to rub shoulders with high level lifters to, you know, progress in a way.
I guess your point there was like, what would be like the biggest reason for like a relatively new lifter to go to a nationals, right? Prior to there being international criteria, but kind of like a smaller version of that, I would say is I'm completely agree with you, but I would say that's almost akin to there being the qualifying totals to get to nationals or to get to a thing, because like unbeknownst to us, obviously, like there's a good portion of lifters that cannot yet qualify for nationals, let alone worry about what's going to be the criteria to be selected for international. So if that's going to be like a mental barrier, or like I guess to a certain extent a physical barrier for someone to enter a competition, then that's not really on the federation in itself. It's just what is like, this is just the next level up, basically.
Yeah.
But yeah,
who organizes the British, like the venue and all of that? Who's the organizer?
I think it's up to the venue. So I think you put in, because we were potentially going to do it for Masters. So apologize if this isn't 100% correct, but the way that I'm pretty sure you kind of submit to host, like you're like, oh, I'm happy to host, and then you know, there's costs involved, and the British Powerlifting will help you out with that. Will not help you out. I feel like they pay for everything potentially. But then it's up to you as like a organizer to do everything. So when we were looking at potentially doing the masters, I was kind of like, oh well, how much support do we have with everything? And from what I understood, it was just up to us to do everything. But then I felt like we get very little in return apart from having to close the gym for a few days and then you know organize all this stuff. And you know, yeah, we get a bit of publicity as a gym, but majority, if not, you know, pretty much the very, very vast majority of the lifters coming down are from elsewhere anyway. So promoting the gym isn't going to be a huge issue because it's not on like a local level. Hosting comps, you know, does publicize the gym, but like doing a national level one here isn't going to really matter that much to us. So for all of the organization having to close down the gym, you know, all of those things added up, it doesn't really make sense for us as a gym to do it.
Yeah. But it's as a region though, should you like get the go ahead after bidding to do a national, would you say that I guess the funding that you mentioned about funding being given from the federation itself, right?
Yeah, I'm not sure
Is
100%
it
sure how it works. I think you submit like your costings, like what it would cost, like, oh, we would need this, and this, and then, you know, it would at the end it would be either paid for by them, or, you know, if it makes sense, if you're
subsidized?
if you're taking the piss with how much you're spending, obviously not. But then I'm not sure if venue hire is included in that.
Okay. I mean, I'm guessing some funds do come from the region itself, right? Because like Joris, correct me if I'm wrong. I mean, I'm pretty sure like each division or each region have their own like sort of account per se, or treasury even, to sort of spend. Like Durance here is a member of the London committee, so you know that he's pretty much in the in when it comes to the talks. So we were just, I guess, you know, honored to have you on to just have a further discussion on as well as an owner of being a gym, like the pretty much the challenges you have to face as well as like the rewards of it. Speaking of the rewards though, like what should you host a national level comp? What would be the biggest reward for you as a host, or just your region?
100%. I think the biggest reward is just kind of sounds a bit like, you know, stupid, but it's like giving back really. Like the reason like we host most of our comps is because we want to be, you know, we want to be known as a gym that hosts comps. We do powerlifting, strongman comps, like all different, we host like different events. And so really it's to kind of give back to our members, or like, you know, our members are more than happy to be part of a gym that is occasionally going to be closed on the weekend. But you know, it does mean that they have a home where it's going to be, you know, you're going to be able to compete there. You're not going to have to travel, all of these things. And it is like, you know, a little celebration kind of thing. Like it is enjoyable for us to do, although it is stressful. But that's a divisional comp. I think is very different from a national comp. Like if it's a national
what would
comp,
be the rewards be for a national, from your take of it anyway?
I don't know how the monetary side of it. I can only imagine that maybe there's a monetary incentive behind it, but then I don't know. I don't know enough about what they're actually offering. I'm assuming that maybe in the budgeting and costings that maybe there's venue hire involved. But even that, it's going to be, I feel like a token amount almost. I don't feel like it would be. And you know, you've got to think about, from my perspective as a gym owner, I would think about the members themselves. Like, although, you know, I feel like our community is very patient in, you know, or taking part, helping out in the running of comps. Like it's incredible. It's a bit of a piss take to be closed for 4 days, especially if you're not a powerlifter.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? If you're just a regular gym goer, you're kind of like, you know, but you know, I guess there's priorities in some places. You know, we'll be closed, or we have been closed for like, you know, not 2 full days, but for competitions. And you know, I feel bad afterwards. Like you have to think of the members, and then it's also just, you know, the state that the gym's left in. Yeah.
Have you guys? I know we're talking about as a gym owner and has a potentially an organizer yourself and Dana J. But this question I'm asking is not about a gym or organizer, but as a British lifter, right? Have you ever? This goes to all three of you. Have you ever thought about what are we getting from our yearly membership and the entry fees that we're paying for these competitions? Have you ever sat there and thought about, okay, I pay £49 a year for my membership, and I'm paying for the entries. And so when you think that together, there's a lot of lifting in the country, we're paying in the thousands of pounds, right? What are we getting from it?
I personally think it's a shit show, because the way I see it, right, you pay £49 for the membership, right? Don't get anything for it, just to say that you're now part of, you basically have a fucking membership. To only do one comp or to maybe two comps like a year, it's not really worth it. And those comps are going to be what, like 30 to 40 pound entry, if that. I mean, I think it will benefit those that compete a lot, because there are some lifters, not being disrespectful, by the way, like there are a lot of lifters that do compete a lot, right? Like literally they'll probably compete like 4 to 5 times, maybe even 6 times. They'll do like a bench only, or then do a couple of other comps here and there. Maybe it'll benefit them a lot. But in terms of like those that are specifically just chasing like a Team GB kind of like entry, right? Those are only going to be doing a qualifier, do the British, and then that's it. Is it really worth it? No. Is there anything else that you get with it? No. In that case, me personally, I don't think it's worth it. I honestly don't. Because like, what else do you get with it? Honestly, I think, me personally, I think it's ridiculous. But it is what it is.
I think for like people like yourself, Durans, like, or like, I mean, all of you really. How many years membership have you paid for? Because I've been kind of on and off over the years. Like I didn't compete for a number. Since you started, you've been paying a membership and you've been paying for comps. It all adds up. But then when you think of it as you've been competing at a top level instead, all of the other costs incurred is kind of like, you know, at least the bare minimum, I feel like, as an international lifter is like, you know, your flights, your hotel, no, that shouldn't be paid for, but you should have your membership paid for.
But like, I agree. Only the top tier that take advantage of it. You know, like myself, like the question I ask is no for me, because I know people that will listen to this thinking like, yeah, but you're an international, you got this and pay for it. I'm talking about that person that can't make the team. Do you know what I mean? That person that can't hit 700 total at 83. Do you know what I mean? I'm talking about that person, because me personally as an international, if you want me to answer my own question, yes, I benefit from it in terms of like, I go international, the fees are paid, my drug test fees are paid, the entry fees are paid, all of those fees are paid by the federation. I benefit from it. What about the rest? This is the rest of the pool I'm talking about here. So what are they getting from their membership? At least this is what we're talking about in the beginning. At least give them a good nationals.
Yeah.
You know,
I mean, some of the I don't even know what to call it advantages, but you know, like to be a volunteer or even a handler at this at nationals, you have to be a member of the federation.
That does not make sense. Like,
I was gonna ask Danjay though, in terms of like nationals or just Britain in general, do you feel as though there's a way that the nationals itself is being marketed or even advertised? Like, would you say like it's not enough? Or I mean, obviously you've been in the world or the realm of powerlifting for years now. Like, has there been a time when you felt as though it should have been publicized a bit more? Why isn't it publicized enough?
I mean, the fact that the three of us try and hype up the 66 division more than, you know, British powerlifting do, or like any type of rivalry, is, you know, stupid. There should be someone within British powerlifting that's looking out for these things and, you know, creating a buzz in these rivalries. It shouldn't be up to it really shouldn't be up to the comp venue or the lifters to do it. There should be someone within British powerlifting that's keeping an eye out for these things or posting it. Like, maybe I just don't follow it as much, but again, to kind of bring it back to what Kim and Jacob are doing with All England, how far out are we from All England now? And they've already started like the hype train for it in terms of promotion, in terms of sponsors, all of those things. It's important. I feel like there should be, you know, a person or multiple people who are like, you know, and also just giving more information on like the lifters themselves, because people have to come to, I feel like any other like sport or like organization like that, you wouldn't have to come to podcasts to hear all the information about the lifters. It would be done through the actual business itself. So I feel like they're offering, like they're taking memberships, and then they're you know, taking a lot, but they're not really treating it as a business what they're then putting out, because I don't feel like there's anything done with. I feel
I agree with you. Like
100%.
We've been told as well, like, you know, majority of the people, the members of the federation don't even know the top 10 or top 5 within their weight class.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
it's really
I
bad.
mean,
It's really bad. The fact that, and like what Dan J just said,
I know
what Dan J. Jones, wait.
Go on.
Give me a sec. So it's basically what Dan J just said. Yeah, the fact that we have to hype everything up, it's bad. I mean, it's funny for us because we love to do it. Obviously, we chose to do that, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that a lot of people only know us, right, the 66ers, because of all this, that's the only reason, right? Like, no one really know. The 66 class wasn't really spoken about a long time ago, right? Like 2 years ago. Let's put it that way, right? It
don't
wasn't.
kid yourself. No one's talking about it, man.
Hear me out. No, it is. They are. Honestly, like there's a lot more talk about the 66ers now. Like, a lot of people now talk about us because of like I don't know. If you think about it, right? If you ask anyone about the 66 class, they just say, "Oh, that toxic fucking group chat, that toxic class," and it's true. A lot of people know it through that now. But the fact that we have to do that ourselves sucks. Like, we would prefer a federation that can, create that hype for us. A couple of Instagram posts here and there, a couple of social media like some story, anything, just the smallest
like
things
almost,
can create.
I always think of the year where they did like kind of John Hack versus Brett Gibbs.
Mm-hmm.
Do you remember that? Like, I don't know who put that out. It was a big thing. Like John Hack, Brett Gibbs, and Owen Hubbard. It was like a big thing. That was like I feel like a lot of effort went into the promotion of that. Yeah. I don't know if it was I don't know who it was from, but that's just what I remember. It's like that should be done for every national comp. Like, well, basically what you do on the pod, but to like through the actual, British powerlifting, it should be like, okay, who are the top 3 to 5 guys and girls? There's going to be rivalries there. Like, people don't have to be like hating each other or having like,
yeah, it's just like any competitive sport.
Yeah, you would have it, but I don't know why they don't treat it like that. And I think until they do that, it's not going to be, recognized as a competitive sport. But then also it's not going to really be like recognized by sponsors to put money into it, because nobody's looking at the actual marketing of it. They'll just, potentially look at, the highlights on Instagram from the lifters, not even, what I mean?
Yeah. Sorry, Juris, you were saying?
No, I was just saying, like, I know we have a platform, which is, I mean, it pains me to see PNAT, they open the IG after us, but they're smoking us in terms of like promotions and all of that stuff, even the numbers and the views. They're smoking us because behind it they have a team. I know we have a person that deal with the GBPF IG page, but bless her, she does her best. But I believe the Fed should throw that support on her way. Say, okay, you're a busy person, you do this, but this is the support we're offering you in terms of pushing this thing forward. Because I know we can sit here and say, okay, the Fed should be doing it, the Fed should have someone doing this and that. The Fed in their head, they think, okay, we have that person that is dealing with it, she's the one who have to deal with it. But the reality is, these things takes time to create these reels, take time to create these media stuff. So that's where I believe is not by the person that's holding the phone or the laptop now. It's about the federations, how much they want to push their lifters.
Yeah, basically
it's a full-time job. Like,
it's a full-time job
doing it. Give that support, provide that support. Even like, let me just say, like, to the extent, even if you have to create a role within the board or the role within the organization saying this is the media rep or the media person, because the reality is, guys, that IG account for GBPF, it might just be turned off.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, because it is.
We don't get nothing. And then this is not a shit, again, as I said, this is not a shit on the person who's running it now. It's a shit on the federation. The shame is on the federation not providing the support. The support have to come from them.
That would be a contribution to the lifters, from their membership fees. Just having like the federation like social media account highlighting their sport.
I think it's like a lot of it's really kind of gatekeeping by a lot of the higher up people within, GB, not wanting to kind of let go of control as well. Because I feel like if you put out something on social and they're like, looking for a social media expert to take over the account, blah, 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 or even if we're looking for a videographer just to go around and film some bits, there will be someone who's at uni and wants to cut their teeth within like a business and then, being able to put out content and blah, 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 and they can whack it on their CV, happy days, that will be happy to do it. Like, at the moment, I feel like a lot of these roles, within divisions as well are taken over by people who are just doing it as a hobby. Like the treasurer, the secretary, all of these different things are people who have full-time jobs and they're doing this as like a little side thing. Yeah. Whereas it's a full-time job that needs to be done, especially like when you're thinking of like the GB main account. That's like a full-time job, bro. Like running there, you should be like a person.
I mean, like you yourself know someone who runs the Southwest Division account, right? So obviously there's responsibilities and things to get done too. So that's just basically a fraction of GB. So as for the whole nation as a whole, man, that would be immense.
I agree, because that GB group, I believe, that is the window to our federation. It's not the thing is, I know they've done a lot of work on the website. You guys probably can vouch for them, right? And kudos to the federation in terms of like revamping the website for I think last year or the year before. They've done
but how long? How long did it take?
The website's decent. That's what I don't get. The website's actually really good, but then I don't think anything else is reflected in.
But how many people go into the website to get info?
Exactly.
That's the thing.
That's the thing. The younger generation, they go to IG, to this Instagram account. That's the only way you're gonna actually lure them to come and compete for us. If they see a nice, as you mentioned there, like this good head-to-head, good content on that IG, they'll be like, oh yeah, I want to be on that page as well. How many people do you think? What do you think we call these guys on Instagram? Some of the people, we call them IG lifters. They go there every day, they max out because they want to be on King of the Lift. Because at least I want to be posted once. You know, let me pull my deadlift like 3-4 times in a day, you know, and get it the last thing and the post and tag King of the Lift. So I go there, put 320 or 360. Is because they want to be on that King of the Lift page. So why can't we create that vibe for our GBPF website, IG page? Because to me, the thing is, right?
There's so much content as well. Like there's literally so much they could potentially post. Whoever's handling it, anyways, or whoever can handle it. Like people's training, there's comps all the time. There's other events outside of it as well. Like it could be the smallest of things, right? Where I don't know. Correct me if I'm wrong, right? They could have easily posted something of like the 66 lifter, Sammy, who won the deadlift competition, right? With he got a hard body contract for 6 months. He won 500 quid. He's a 66 lifter as well, who's going to be competing in the juniors. That's fucking worth posting. Post something like that. You know what I mean? And then the owner of Hard Body, whatever it is, he's got like hundreds of thousands of followers. He'll see that. He'll probably repost that because he's been tagged in it. It's just generating that thing, man. And it's like, they don't post fuck all. I'm sorry, but little things like that could have generated a lot of hype. Just one thing like that. Because he was like, what? The lightest guy there, pulled 270. He went up against guys that were like 105, 120 kilos. He won the thing. And it's like, why not post that? I don't know. I think
that brings it back to like the venue thing as well. And I know, which is another reason why it's not as attractive to go to an outside venue, is obviously because of the cost of the venue. But with powerlifting not being a spectator sport, like you're not going to get ticket entries on the door, which is where a lot of the money would come from. So if you had like spectator, if it was a big crowd that you could pull in with the spectators, you have this, like, say you have this big, whatever the venue is, and it's got like tiered seating, everything. For the most part, powerlifting comps don't fill those seats. But if you had a person coming in and actually willing to pay £5-10 to just watch, then it kind of makes it, it bumps up, the actual revenue that you're going to make from the thing. But at the moment, there's, you'll get, I don't know, 1 or 2 of your friends coming along to see it. Like, say 1 or 2 friends, and then maybe your like coach or handler. That's it. They'll come for that reason to watch you lift, not to watch the event as a whole, really. But if you build these like, rivalries or all of those different things, or there's a big promotion for it, you're like, oh shit, I want to go and watch this because it's exciting. Like I actually understand what's happening. Like with
it gives the people to want to be there and say, oh shit, I was there myself, saw it with my own 2 eyes, like that kind of like sensation that you get from other sports, pretty much. Like,
Look at a little bit out topic here, but the 105 deadlift battles last year.
Yeah, man.
Just imagine if you create that content saying, this is what we witnessed last year, and this year you use just this, even if you don't have material, just use that for this year.
I used that actually there was a few guys, whenever, well, not whenever, but it just happened straight after that went down. There was a strong man who was kind of like, I don't really get powerlifting. It's boring. Like, it's boring to watch. Like, I don't get why people do it, blah, 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 kind of hating on it. And I actually showed him that battle and said, this is how exciting it can get. Like, going to and from and like chipping, and just that's powerlifting when it gets exciting. And that happens, I feel like, at every national. There'll be like a little battle like that. There'll be something
Oh, yeah.
like the year
100%.
when you beat Chris, like, that was probably the most exciting, like, you know, final deadlifts that I've witnessed, and it was because I was like there behind. But there's something like that at every comp, but to like a norm, like an outsider looking in, if you don't know the lifter individually, or if you're not looking at the, you know, the numbers being put up, you wouldn't really understand that. So you kind of need someone who's, you know, say on the social, who's like, oh look, this is what, like, oh, say, you know, Joey hasn't competed in X amount of years. Kibra put this up at a comp a few months ago, and who knows if Dan Jay's just going to cramp on the platform. Like, it's exciting. You need somebody who's there to say that beforehand, and not just on the day or on the street. Otherwise, people aren't going to come and fill seats.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I think we need to. I hope they will be listening to this. We need to push our lifters. We need to push our Fed through all the channels that we have available. We got 14,000 followers on that IG account, and I'm not saying that's a small amount of people. That is a platform we can utilize. I just checked it now. Since the Euros and the Commonwealth now, it's been 2 posts.
Yeah.
2 posts.
So bad. It's so bad.
And
you know,
that's not good enough. So they need to push. They need to push. Even me, I'm thinking, even if I have to write a bloody fucking professional letter to the board, I'll do that. You know,
I think there is a younger generation who does really want to push these things, but it's kind of, there's no incentive to do it. Like, on my part, like, you know, we really, at the gym, we've started to get more involved in South Midlands, and we're doing like some bits there. And there are genuinely at different levels, there are people who are really passionate about it and really want to do all these things. And, you know, we're having these conversations and we all want to do better, but it's like, there's no incentive to actually do it, or it's people's side gig a little bit. Like, you know, people have full-time jobs. They don't have time to write letters to GB or push all of these things. I think British powerlifting as a whole just needs to be treated a bit more like a business and not like some side project, because it's a huge business now. Like, they must be turning over a lot of money. It's a big business with a lot of people competing and a lot of entry fees and all these things. So I don't know why it's not treated like one. Like,
yeah,
mate, the membership, what do you call it? The entry fees alone for the national, if my maths is right, I might be off, but match. We're talking about probably close to 10K here.
Oh yeah.
You know what I
But
mean?
like, you know, I don't want to, there's like, you know, some bigger comps, I don't want to throw numbers of, you know, comps, but like, yeah, 10K easily is made in like in a big comp. Like, you know, not profit, that's the thing as well. 10K is, you know, taken, but like, you know, what is the actual profit on that?
Yeah, the net.
But that can be, the thing is, and another like idea I want to put forward at some point is, like, there can be so much more profit squeezed out of this if there's an organization. If it's not just like, say, me as an individual going and being like, oh, okay, I'm going to do a national comp, let's make it up as we're going along. If there was more support and, like, you know, more resources out there to be like, oh, okay, like, again, I keep mentioning them, but with Kim and Jacob, even the thing that they had on their systems that they had on the screens was at All England's was incredible, because you literally had a countdown until when your flight was starting, so you knew exactly when to start warming up. That's like a system that's like, you know, for me as an individual, it's like, how the fuck do we get that set up? But it's like, if there was a resource for it, or even little things like, it's like stupid little conversations we have in the division, like, oh, okay, we need 2 screens in 2 different locations. How do we do that? Oh, do we do it with a 20-meter HDMI cable? Do we do it through Bluetooth? Like, all of these resources aren't out there. It's just up for people to kind of figure out as they go along. Whereas if there was like a thing in place where it's like, oh, okay, this is what you need to run a comp, or a national level comp needs this, these are the standards we have to hit, and we have all the kit for it, we have, you know, the experts to do it, blah, 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 blah. It'll be a lot easier, and there wouldn't be a barrier to entry as much.
Yeah. But bro, man, we really, really appreciate you for coming on. I know you only had a set amount of time, but we appreciate you for giving it to us. So yeah, I just want to say, you know, I'll see you in a few weeks. Hope you're preparing well.
How you feeling, by the
it's
way?
all love. It's all love.
How you feeling?
Me or Joey?
No, you. I know how Joey's feeling. How are you feeling, man?
Yeah, I'm good. Just sipping my water.
Yeah, I'm not feeling
Oh,
salty, that's for
hydrated.
sure.
Don't
By
worry
the way,
about it.
have you got any comments for Durins after he said about your 80-kilo body weight?
I don't know. Like Durins, I have layers on here. I'm like skinny under this. Like,
Oh, hold on. Where did that 8 kilo come from? I got that from you, bro. You said that Daniel J is training at 90. Oh,
Look at these guys snitching. Anyways, but yeah, bro, I appreciate you for coming on. I hope you enjoyed the conversation with us. Can't wait to see you in a few weeks, like I said. And then, yeah, I hope you have a good rest of your day, man. Appreciate it.
cheers, guys.
Take care.
cheers, mate.
Cheers, guys. All the best, man.